Hi, this is video 2 in a 3-part series of setting yourself up for next year, your best year ever. So if you didn't get a chance, check out this video here where I talked about the vision board, not necessarily the how-to of creating a vision board, but for me, the meaning behind the vision board, the intention behind the vision board, and reverse engineering the process. So we're in phase 2, our life audit. So a life audit, here is Google's definition. So, so basically it's just yourself reflecting and doing a self-assessment, where you are now versus where you want to be. But you're going to do a deep dive into what's called the wheel of life. And if you Google it, you can see wheel of life assessments, just the various areas of your life that you should take inventory in. So here is a screenshot of the various areas on the wheel of life. And I have to say, this year I pretty much probably had to assess each area, with the primary focus for me being on career, which is my business, finances, because I want to pay off all my bills in full and have a zero balance, as well as personal growth. So those areas were my top 3, but I did have to evaluate all of them. So usually for my new year, the start right after my birthday, or right before my birthday, I'm sorry, I reflect. But this year, I had quite a bit of loss, so I did a deeper dive and I took a life audit and analyzed all the areas of my life because I felt out of alignment, off balance, and I wanted to set my intention for the next year. And in order to the intentions that were placed on my vision board, and I feel as in order to attract those things into my life, I they won't come the person that I was or am right now. I needed to shift my energy to get my mindset in a different place and actually do some different things in order to attract those things into my life. So in setting my intention and in order to achieve some of those things on my vision board, I had to pivot. So my gift shop is still open, but I probably the first year, and I said in 2018 when I kind of just started out to test the water, I probably had a similar fourth quarter. I didn't really put that much energy into that shop because it is my intention to build the micro brand. So that was a brand new shop. I've been getting sales, but I'm driving sales on a 1-page document, so it's not a lot of revenue, but I'm getting the shop into the algorithm. So that was my intention this season. I didn't expect to have a huge quarter financially this year. And so I set the expectation for that. I still have been getting sales in the other shop, but it doesn't compare to the other years. So if you're familiar with Shay Budgets on the internet, she did a video about 6 or 7 months ago about how her shop had fallen off. She wasn't making as much money in her, I think she had a sticker shop. I'm not sure on that. And she just did a recent video again. I guess she's going to close the shop after 4 years because the income doesn't even compare to what she used to make. When I was listening to her story, it was a very similar story. She opened up her shop in 2018. I opened up my shop technically in 2018. 2019 was a big year for me. And then in 2020, mid 2020, things started to fall off just based on everything that was going on in the world. For me, it fell off because I shut down half of my business. I discontinued the print on demand portion because there were problems with the distribution channels. So the delivery times were extended, to say the least. And I sell gifts. And so I didn't think people would wait 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks to get a mug. So I focused primarily on printables. As things started to improve by fourth quarter, I added print on demand mugs back to my shop, and they sold not as well as the previous year because those items I had unlisted them or deactivated them, so I had to get back into the algorithm. Now for her, I don't know the details of her story, but our paths were similar. Her shop fell off around the same time, and it just never picked back up momentum. The same with me, and almost the same mindset behind it. Like she stated, she wasn't really, other things were requiring her attention. The shop wasn't, I think, bringing her as much joy. And the same thing happened to me. As my shop started to fall off, I realized it was never the end game, because if you've been following the channel, I've mentioned this before, doing customizable clip art, whether it's printables or the print on demand, is very labor intensive. So it takes up a lot of time. And I wanted to start setting my business up more for passive income and different things. Like I like the YouTube. I wanted to put more effort into my YouTube channel. I wanted to develop a course, different things that would require more time. And based on that business model, it just wasn't any time in that, because the amount of time it takes to fill the orders, create the orders. So I had always planned on pivoting from it, but because of the things that happen, sometimes life happens and it forces you to pivot. So as 2020, and then I moved into 2021, I still had the shop. I was still doing okay. It didn't bring in as much revenue as 2020. And then coming to 2022, few months here, few mugs here, few mugs there. I never really had a huge month, but people continued to buy some of the mugs because those listings always sell. But I knew that I didn't want to shut the shop down, but I wanted to redirect my time and energy. So when I watched her video, I understood her story, because I pretty much walked the same path. The only difference is I'm not going to close my shop, because what I did is I removed all the customizable clip art listings, but I still have customizable mugs. They're just text mugs, and they sell because people usually like things that are customized. So now my business will be focused on the 24/7 spending challenge, which is under the umbrella of the micro principles. So those two are my primary focus. My new shop will bring products that add value to people's lives, whether it's focusing on what it is that brings you joy, from self-care to financial self-care. Those are the type of products that I want to create, and they will be more in planner/workbook format. So that's where my time and energy. Since I'm rebuilding, I have to find the same enthusiasm that I had in 2019 to leave corporate America and build out my gift shop. And that enthusiasm, I had a heck of a fourth quarter. So I have to find that same energy, that same drive to do that I did then. And I have to admit, this earlier part of the year, because I won't say distracted, like my mind just wasn't on it. It wasn't my primary focus. I did not come into fourth quarter with up here. I probably came in almost down here. But for my birthday, I went to Sedona. I needed to reset, recharge, and I've come back with a different mindset, and I'm ready to go. Hence, the videos are back. While I was evaluating the part of the life wheel that deals with career, which is my business, I've also going to make a slight pivot on the channel. So it still will focus on creating digital products, whether that's via Canva, primarily created in Canva because that's the platform I use. But right now, I've always focused on Etsy. And that's because Etsy had a captive audience, and it was easier to get started there. But now it's time for me to step out of that comfort zone if I want to build the level of net profits that I want for myself and my business and expand to other platforms. So I will be not moving in addition, because I'm going to keep my Etsy shop, and I will start to sell things directly from my blog, as well as set up a Shopify store. So I will have multiple platforms that I can direct traffic to, as well as on my blog and Shopify, I'll have a little bit more control over it. I can build an email list, and then I'm able to market to those people to start building super fans in order to build my business, because on Etsy, there's no way to market to anyone. And because those aren't your customers, they're Etsy's customers. So I had to change my mindset around my business, how I want to run my business, how I want to market my business. In order to have more control, I need to be on different type of platforms. So that is one of the goals or one of the intentions for this year so that I can meet the revenue goal that I want to meet for next year. So back to the channel. The same thing would apply to your business. You can learn the how-tos. So, which digital products may be trending, how to create the digital products, how to set up your Etsy store, how to make a listing, all of those things. But that's just one part of your business. In order to build a scalable business, it has to be balanced. You have to try to automate things. You can't keep finding new customers. You need to be able to build relationships with your existing customers. So Etsy's platform, it's a little harder to do that. There are ways that because I've done a couple of videos on that, where you can include links on your Etsy shop that can get people on your email list. But outside of Etsy, I think you'll have a little bit more control over the process. So there will still be how-to videos, but there will also be mindset videos and things that you can do to make your business more efficient or put it more on autopilot. Create more products that will allow you to build passive income so that doesn't take up as much as your time and energy. So there'll be a slight shift on the channel, but it still will focus on digital products because that's the theme. Creating digital products to increase the financial flexibility in your budget. But some of the how-tos will be reduced, and it'll be more about, once your business is established, how you stay in the game, because mentally you have to be there too. Or especially if you're a solopreneur, if you're operating as a sole proprietor, you can burn yourself out if you're trying to do everything manually. You're not automating, you're not creating passive income, you're not creating multiple sources of income. So all of those things. So while I was assessing the Wheel of Life assessment, that's what I came to the conclusion of, because how many how-to videos can you do? Etsy is changing, but at the end of the day, setting up a listing and some of those things, it really doesn't change. So I have to broaden the scope of the things that I'm going to talk about on the channel itself. One of the other things that I discovered while I was doing my life audit was I wanted to embrace spirituality more. So I had a Reiki energy balancing session. I wasn't familiar with it, but it was amazing. It definitely helped balance me out, get me back in alignment. They measure your aura. It's a lot of things. And it just lifted my spirits. So I also want to learn more about sound healing, the Reiki I'm thinking about taking, may not be pronouncing it right, Reiki, I think is Reiki masterclass to learn more about the self-healing for myself, because I've always been an individual that's driven by energy, and my energy in relationship to the things in my life and the people in my life. So I do want to learn more about how to balance that. So the personal growth aspect of the Wheel of Life. So when you do a deep dive on your life audit, it is not to criticize yourself or beat yourself up for you not being where you want to be at this point in your life. It's to take an assessment, a snapshot. Where are you now? And be realistic. This is your life. You can't fool yourself. So be realistic about where you are. And then look, put a little man over there. This is where you're trying to get to. In order for you to get here to all the way over there, what changes do you have to make? What choices do you have to make? What habits do you have to create? What mindset do you have to embrace? What intentions do you have to set? All of these things. So as you score yourself, because a lot of times what people will do, they'll score themselves from 0 to 10 in each one of those categories. And then in order to get to, because nothing's 10 at perfect, so maybe to get to 8 or 9, you're going to have to make some changes. In some categories, you may have to change more than others. But the goal in this particular step on your life audit is to just do a self-assessment. Figure out where you are now. Do not beat yourself up that if you had went left instead of right, this would have happened, that would have happened. No one knows because you didn't do those things. So just pick yourself up, be thankful for where you are, start from here, and then move forward. Do it one step at a time, small. Don't try to do these things in big, large chunks. Like there was a quote today: the only person you should try to be better than is the person you were yesterday. So that's the goal of this step. Figure out where you are now, and every day take a small step towards the person that you're becoming. And in the next step, we're going to do how to create the best year of your life. And in my terms, how to live your life by design and not default. So I'll see you in the next video.